What's up, everybody? Quick live late night episode of Believe in Kentucky. Kentucky 90, Gonzaga 89, just like we thought it would be at halftime, right? Whew. Till the battle in Seattle is won. That's what we had tonight. Kentucky dug themselves a little bit of a hole, 50 to 34 at halftime. Go into the game without Lamont Butler. And look, how great would it have been to have seen that Butler Nimhard matchup, especially when he had those moments where he was trying to take over, those moments where Nimhard was making plays for the Zags. It would have been nice to see Butler and him matched up uh, for those stretches. But knew that wasn't going to happen. You knew when we saw him in the sweats, he wasn't going to be able to go. Coach Pope talked about it before the game. They tried, like the Dickens, to try to get Lamont Butler ready, but he tweaked it in Clemson, as we know, came back and played, just wasn't able to go this evening. So you already had that going against you. It's 50 to 34 at halftime. You're wondering about, hey, is these guys tough enough? Do they have that fight? You go into the locker room on pace for 68 points on the heels of scoring 66 points against Clemson. Um, you heard the broadcast, Tom Leach, Jack Givens, the switch to the 1-3-1 really kind of confused Gonzaga. Uh, Coach Joby Hall loved that 1-3-1. Remember when Cal was here and Coach Hall was still alive? Cal would always talk about Coach Hall is trying to get Cal to put in a 1-3-1. So it's just fitting, funny, hilarious that the 1-3-1 was kind of what Coach Pope leaned on to get the Cats some stops because they were not getting stops at all in the first half. Start of the second half, Kentucky scoring, but you're down 16. So you come out the first couple minutes and they're just trading baskets. That's not gonna get it done. You're gonna have to dig in and get some stops. They were able to do so. Down 50 to 34 at halftime. We can say that over and over and over again. That's not gonna get old. Down 50 to 34, gave up half 100 uh, in Seattle. Zags are rocking 50 to 34 to come back in the second half and overtime, outscore them 56 to 39 down the stretch. Um, Hickman threw in that three at the end to cut it to one. Was 90 to 86. He hits that tough three to make it 90 to 89. But to not only go into the game without Lamont Butler, which you already knew, but then you lose Kirk Creaser. So you're going down the stretch, money time, crunch time, without either of your point guards. Travis Perry got a little run the first half, played about 3 minutes. But you got Jackson Robinson, running the offense. You got guys executing. You got guys being efficient. Not turning the ball over. You go back to Clemson. You look at how many free throws were missed, and look at how they shot a whole lot better tonight. They were 15 of 15, and then I think Owe missed the first one. We got Carter missed a couple at the end, but still, yeah, they were able to withstand those. And for the game from the line, looking real quick, 2, 2, 5, 7, 12, 13, 15, 3, 9, 11, like 15 to 18, which is a lot better than what it was against Clemson, and just the resilience. Uh, Chris Bailey, the legendary Lexington weatherman, is tweeting out greatest regular season win since when? And look, for me, the Tennessee game last year in Knoxville was a great regular season win. Reed Shepard tore them up in Thompson Bowling Arena. So that was a great regular season win. You think maybe you have to harken back to who hasn't been a lot of great regular season wins. There were. Tennessee game last year. You think about uh, Keon Brooks showing out in Lawrence, Kansas at Fall Gallon Fieldhouse when Kentucky absolutely went into Kansas and just dog walked the Jayhawks, which that's again something that you don't see happen. Um, that season didn't end. That postseason didn't end the way we'd hope. That team maybe peaked a little too soon. But as far as regular season wins, those two come to mind pretty quick. You know, the win at Tennessee last year. Again, the postseason didn't go as we'd hoped, and the win at Kansas was awesome too. And also, you go back to exactly um, golden gameplay. So it kind of reminds me of when we came back against West Virginia. Absolutely, because that was another one where it was the Kevin Knox year. Um, you didn't really have a. If you're being honest, you know, you hope they win every game. You didn't really feel confident about them going up to West Virginia, up to Morgantown and winning. Dug a big hole, came back in the second half, a lot like they did today. After the Clemson game, not there's still confidence going into Gonzaga, but hey, it's a tough week, man. You got to go to Clemson, then you got to go to Seattle to play Gonzaga. So kind of, yeah, I don't know. Then you're down 50-34. Ooh, man. And so for them to come back from that big of a deficit without point guards, especially down the stretch, was amazing. Just to be that resilient in that moment. Uh, Amari Williams, 12 points, 3 rebounds. Andrew Carr, huge, 19.7 boards. Jackson Robinson, um, 18 points. That floater at the end to put the Cats up 4. And listen, the first half and the second half for him, the whole game kind of went that way. You know, down 16 and a half. He's 1 for 8 to start. They shake that off and you'll go on a 56-39 run to win. He shakes off that terrible start, finishes 7 for 15 for the game. So 6 of 7 the rest of the way. After starting 1 of 8, he's 6 of 7, makes both his free throws, 40% for him from 3. He goes 2 for 5. Um, Kirk Arisa got hurt, which again just changed everything. Got to put different guys in different spots they might not be completely comfortable with. Taker always started off slow too. He still finishes in double digits with 13, 4 of 11, only shot 1 3. That one from the corner that would have been cool if he could have got it to go in the midst of Kentucky kind of getting momentum and climbing up and pulling themselves back in the game. But just a amazing. Everybody's still up and just fired up and um, just basking in what we just saw happen with the win over Gonzaga. Um, EK was killing Kentucky in the first half. Flashback to the game in Lexington last year. He ate against the Cats last year as well. So to see Kentucky kind of withstand that, take his punches, um, good just to see them be resilient like that. Um, Fran Fraschilla saying hates to see BYU lose Mark Pope. Got to go to Kevin Young, but we saw this outstanding coaching last year in the Big 12. Every Kentucky fan should send a thank you note to Andy Enfield for leaving USC. Yeah, very, very true. Hadn't said it, but we are live as well on YouTube, Facebook, and you can follow us on Twitter at Believe in Kentucky as well. Just a quick live episode after this BYU game in Seattle as well. So for Kentucky to do that, to go to 8-1 now. Forget the tweet, but Mark Pope already has 2 wins over 2 top 10 teams. I think it was Cats coverage that put it out. And neither of these wins have been at home. You beat Duke in a neutral site game down in Champions Classic. then go on the road in Seattle and beat another top 10 team in Gonzaga. So just unbelievable way Kentucky was able to fight and overcome just such a dreadful start. Uh, just got to basket it, just got to enjoy it. Um, let's see. Got Kurt Cook in here with some comments. BBN, absolutely. That's, we top five already. Got the number back to our name. It's just look. This is what we grew up seeing Kentucky do. And look. I mean, to me, this team. You're wondering if they had the dog in them. You're wondering if they had that fight. You're wondering, hey, can they? Because they're getting punched in the face. Dude that went semi coast to coast and dunked on Kentucky's heads. I mean, he didn't put somebody on a poster, but just it was a devastating dunk. At that point, you're wondering, like, do we have, we got enough dog in us to combat what they're doing? Then you already had people wondering about, well, the SEC schedule is just going to be more of the same with what we saw against Clemson, what we're seeing now against Gonzaga. Teams just going to be physical, more athletic, longer, more tougher. All of that, more talented. That's going to it's not going to get any easier. So to see Kentucky respond now, we all know how cerebral Mark Pope is. You know that they're going to work on these slow starts to where you're not in a position to where you're down 16 and having to do so much to claw back. It's probably the next phase, the next step, the next little adjustment to where, hey, let's not get down 50-34. Let's not get punched in the mouth for 20 minutes and have to fight so hard in the final 20 minutes to do it. But hey, give them credit for not giving up because they could have easily a Thea guy's back. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It was a great win for sure. So yeah, now you'll see them start to put together 40-minute games. It's an old team, but they haven't played a lot together. It's like the more they play together, look, I'm old, the more in sync they're gonna be. Y'all that are old enough like me to remember Stockton and Malone, those guys knew where they were on the court, the pick and roll, Utah Jazz for years. The chemistry, they were in sync. Kentucky's gonna get that. Oway, Carr, Williams, all these guys are gonna get in sync together and build on what they've already done. They've already got 2 wins over 2 top 10 teams, and they still haven't played a lot of ball together. You heard Mark Pope after Clemson talked about how they kind of got away from trusting each other. And it's kind of natural. You haven't played with these guys. You haven't played in this system outside of Jackson Robinson. Nobody had played in this system. So that trust, when things got tough against Clemson, they didn't really have it. Look, to use a Cal saying, they let go of the rope. Missed a ton of free throws in Clemson. Couldn't get stops when they needed to. Couldn't hit shots when they needed to. And we saw them do all these things in the second half. We saw them get stops. We saw them hit free throws. We saw them hit shots. Like I mentioned, Jackson Robinson's floater to put him up 4. He hit another little mid elbow jumper, tough. He kind of had Carr open if he kicked it back to him, but he didn't, and he still hit a little tough fadeaway. He was smooth as silk. He was on his game, and we kind of saw him do it in a big game against a good team. We had seen him in exhibition light it up. We had seen him against some of these teams that aren't very competitive, light it up. Some of these small, Wright States and Bucknells where he kind of put up numbers. Tonight we saw him do it on the road against a top 10 team. So we can't really say, well, Jackson Robinson don't really show up in the big games when the game's on the line. He showed that, hey, he can do that. So that's another thing to build on going forward. So just lots of good things to continue to build on. They got Colgate coming in Wednesday. So, of course, you enjoy this one. Get it all out your system. Don't come out flat and have a letdown. We saw them kind of do that the other day against Georgia State. Come out a little flat, kind of let them hang around. Clash Peters trying to cheap shot everybody and fight everybody. That woke them up. They still won by 30. So it'd be cool to kind of see them come out and find some motivation on their own without somebody from the other team kind of having to poke the bear. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday against Colgate when they come in. But look, big time win. Everybody's wanting to be skeptical. And with the Clemson game, the fan base, which this is what BBN does, is what we do, man. We went from being skeptical about Mark Pope even being hired in the first place to, hey, man, what are we doing losing to Clemson? We supposed to be, how are we losing the game? Freaking out after one loss. That's in the span of 6 months went from, hey, man, do we even know this is the guy, to how dare he lose to Clemson and Ian Shefflin or whatever, who dude been there, 3,000 years, was going up against Dean Smith. That's the pivot. But look, enjoy the season, enjoy all the ups and downs, even if it's like Pope said, times where everything is going wrong. And, BBN might think I'm the worst coach in the nation. Stay with them, enjoy it. It's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be a fun season. Can't get much more fun than this second half. Cats 90, Gonzaga 89, till the battle in Seattle was won. Y'all have a good rest of the night. Get some sleep when you finally wind down and go to sleep. Subscribe, like, tell your friends about the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Give us a little 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Listen, I say this every time. There's been some Tennessee fans and Louisville fans come on there and give a little 5-star rating and write a review. So BB and y'all jump in there. Believe in Kentucky some love on Apple Podcasts. We definitely appreciate it. Gonna hop on off of here for now. We'll be back later on with another regularly scheduled episode with Aaron and myself, and we'll get Jalen Whitlow back too when he gets done with his football season. But look, appreciate y'all hopping on. Cats beat those Zags. It was a whole lot of fun. Let's keep enjoying this season. We'll holler at y'all later. Been Vinny Hardy real quick on a live episode of Believe in Kentucky on the Believe Podcast Network. We'll holler at y'all later on now. Peace.